My God, we have got to talk about this. Oh man. So I mean, I just read the new chapter, One Piece 1108, and dear God, man, this is what reading One Piece is supposed to be like. And I say that because I haven't put out a chapter review in I think 2 weeks, and the reason because of that is it's a mixed bag. Like a couple of things have happened with the channel and whatever, doesn't matter. But the main reason is because I started the chapter review of last week, chapter 1107. I started that off angry as hell. I was mad because I got spoiled before the chapter came out, and it's like, you know, as a One Piece reviewer or a One Piece YouTube channel, you know, you gotta, you know, part of that's on me. I shouldn't have been on Twitter. I know, I get it. And it's like, if you do look for the spoilers of One Piece, I'm not gonna pretend like I don't get it. You know, we've all been there. You know, spoilers tempt us all. But God, you know, ruining the experience for you if you want to enjoy the story that way, that's one thing. But don't post the spoilers, like the actual panels of the manga, so that I can just accidentally stumble across them. Just, if I could just ask for one thing, like just one thing from Twitter and anyone in the YouTube comments, like, for God's sake, just don't post the panels, for God's sake, because anything else, you could at least say that, you know, it's probably my fault, right? Like I was looking for it, or I was trying to read stuff, whatever. But the panels, I'm just scrolling through and I see the Blackbeard pirates on Egghead. I was just, you know, I was hot. So like a good half of that video, the last chapter review, it was just me ranting. So yeah. But in 1107, a lot of funny stuff did happen, okay? For starters, the Blackbeard pirates are on Egghead. We found out it was Catadarina Devon, whatever. Catadarina Devon. I can't say her name. Catadarina Devon. I'm not even gonna look it up. I can't say her name right now, but you know what I'm talking about. The woman whose face gave us nightmares in that one panel she was in last chapter. It's her and the French dude that can teleport. So they're on Egghead Island, and they were on some type of mission, but they actually managed to touch St. Saturn. So now it looks like Catadarina Devon, she can shapeshift into the giant spider person now, it seems. Which is terrifying all on its own, but I'm just glad that we finally know, you know, what the Blackbeard pirate ship that was outside of Egghead. We finally have some closure on that. I have been just begging for answers on that for such a long time. And we finally got that last chapter. Another thing we finally got is a little bit of closure on what Zoro's doing with Rob Lucci. It's not really closure, but it's just like, he's still fighting Lucci, and, you know, and we don't have an update on that in this chapter, so I might as well go into that a little bit. I'm not even, like, I get the agenda and everything like that. Zoro, I don't have any beef with you at all. I'm not mad at you. I'm not angry. I just, like, you know, this is Rob Lucci. Even, let's say that he's just stronger than we thought he was, okay? I'm okay with admitting that. You know, I was talking down on his name, as I will continue to do because I don't respect him. But it doesn't mean he can't put up a good fight, you know? That's not the issue. The issue is, Zoro, if this is taking you longer than 3 minutes, go get somebody else and jump him. I don't know why you're still trying to fight this guy 1v1. Like, it's good that Jinbei's on his way, don't get me wrong. I can't wait to see them jump Rob Lucci, but it's just like, at this point, you know how much stuff has happened? You should have been call somebody. I don't know, shout from wherever you are. Can someone help? Let's just jump him, please. Like, I get, like, you know, the swordsman an honor and all that stuff, yada, 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 but it's Lucci. You think he cares? He just got done. He gave Stussy a finger gun. No, shut up. Took her completely out of the fight. And again, the line that Zoro himself sent to Rob Lucci, which is, I guess you waited for backup to grow a spine. He's not fighting fair. We should have jumped him chapters ago. That's all I'm saying. The other highlight from the last chapter in 1107 was Sanji, of course, stepping in and being the MVP yet again. Adam Sandler jumps up and sent like a light bolt at Bonnie, and Sanji jumped in, kicked that pussy-ass lightning bolt out of the way. And the funniest part of the chapter is Kizaru's reaction to Sanji blocking the lightning bolt. Sanji, his face was like, what was that? He said, huh? Like, Kizaru was shook, and Frankie was like, how did you do that? That's light. How did you kick that away? And Sanji's like, light can't hold a candle to the power of love. And I love Kizaru's answer. He's like, well, if that's true, we need to rewrite physics. This is insane. All of these lunatics are insane, all right? And it looks like the entire world is about to know that. So let's go ahead and get into this chapter, all right? Now, what happens in this chapter? Right off the bat, I do want to say the cover page of this chapter is phenomenal. It's amazing. It's all of the women. Well, not all of the women, but it's Nami, Robin, Boa Hancock. Utsa's even there, actually. The girl from One Piece Red, Shanks' daughter. Tashigi, Reiju's even there. It's a great chapter, but right off the bat, the immediate first thing I notice, Robin's cake is just, I mean, good God, what a cheek's doing on the front page of One Piece. I'm not even kidding, like in my notes for this, I just have Robin's cake, and I think there was supposed to be like a whole section where I thirsted over the cover chapter. I'm not gonna do that, but know that that was the plan. Let's just keep going. The other thing that happened last chapter is that Swamp Person wants to join the Blackbeard Pirates. In my head, this was always gonna happen, or maybe he was always a part of the Blackbeard Pirates. But to be honest, like, this is bad, okay? He's got a lot of information that could really help Blackbeard be an even more despicable villain. But to be honest, the only thing I can think of is how glad I am that I don't have to watch Swamp Person drag his swamp body across the Sunny. I'm glad the Sunny will now be a much cleaner place without this dirty, smelly swamp person just lurking in the shadows. Get him out of here. Like, it's not... I was upset that we kept, like, there's the meme, like, Swamp Nakama. Listen to me. Oda is crazy, dude. He will do whatever. Have you seen Vegapunk? Oda does whatever he wants. If he wanted Swamp Nakama to be a real thing, oh God, he would have done it, and we all would have been forced to accept it. It would have been great writing, and God, we would... Oh God, what if he had, like, a sad backstory? No, okay, I reject it. We all rejected it, and I'm just glad that finally it looks like this is over, okay? So he walks up to Katarina Devon and the French guy, and he's like, please let me join your crew. I want to meet Commodore Teach. And they're a little bit hesitant, you know, but he pretty much just basically spells out the thing that everybody was predicting up until this point. The reason why it's so bad that he joins the Blackbeard Pirates is because of all the information that he has. He just spills that out plain as day, which I think is a rare One Piece theory W. You know, like, so many times we come up with theories and Oda's just like, that's hilarious. That's not where the story's going. You should just stop cooking, you know, get out of the kitchen. While this one was easy to guess, and while this one was, you know, really intuitive almost, it is kind of cathartic to see something that we all imagined was a really bad possibility come to fruition. Anyway, I hate Swamp Person. So then we get to these sorry-ass Marines trying to do their best to make the situation a W in their side, but it's not gonna go that way. We already know that. And this guy called Tosa, one of the Marines, he goes up and he's trying to capture Jewelry Bonnie, who's riding on Frankie's back. They're all trying to escape the island. And this is when Dory and Broggy show up and just rock his ass. They just knock him clean out. We get some more exposition. It looks like Dory and Broggy did their research. So that even though they haven't met Frankie or any of the other Straw Hats, they made sure to look at their wanted pictures to make sure that they would recognize them so that when they did encounter them, they would know who to help, which is hilarious because a lot of those lunatics look nothing like their wanted posters. Frankie, I'm pretty sure Frankie, at this point in time, he's just a ship. So Dory and Broggy probably got to Egghead Island and saw the Sunny and they were like, Frankie, oh man, it's so good to see you. Until they found this robot person with big ass shoulders, like, who are you? But for now, it looks like Bonnie and Frankie and everybody in that is safe, and, you know, we get some more Marines, yada, yada, yada. The main part of the chapter, though, so Vegapunk is bleeding out on the ground, okay? This is a bad situation. What happened in the last chapter is after Sanji became the MVP and kicked that light bolt away, he stuck around with Gear 5 Luffy, and they were about to run the ones with Kizaru. Now it looks like Spider Person has showed up. Videgapunk's in a really bad way. He's telling them, like, look, you gotta leave me behind, okay? Like, I'm bleeding out. Like, I know that if I move, I'm just gonna hemorrhage, and this is it for me, basically. Just save yourselves. And it's really cool to see Sanji and Luffy reacting to this situation, because though Luffy is Joy Boy, he's like, I'm not leaving you here, okay? We already promised that we'd get you out of here. And Sanji is much the same way. He's like, I promised Bonnie that I would get you out of here. I'm not leaving you here. Come on. And so they start trying to get Vegapunk out of there. Sanji picks him up and they take off, but then Kizaru comes out of nowhere, kicks Sanji, and then he stabs Vegapunk with his light sword. And for some reason, this happened. Like, if you guys have been paying attention to my chapter reviews, you'll know how frustrated I've been with Adam Sandler up until this point. Like, Kizaru has really pissed me off. But for some reason, when this happened, I wasn't really mad. I was more like, why did he do that? We've seen him kind of shirk off on the job a little bit while he's on Egghead. Like, we've seen him just lounging about and talking about how much he doesn't really want to do this. Like, we've seen hints of the man underneath what he's trying to be right now. But this something feels off about this, and I don't know why, but it didn't make me mad. And I think the reason it didn't make me mad is not too long after that, a broadcast starts. And also there's some dialogue from Sanji as he's carrying Vegapunk away after he's been stabbed by Kizaru. Sanji's like, let's get going. You've got to get to the back entrance. Crap, I'm sorry, Vegapunk. And he's like, don't die on me. Hey, what are you smiling about? Stay with me. So for some reason, Vegapunk is smiling, and that's when the broadcast starts, right? So I don't know if this is pretty much confirmed, but basically, you know, the way I'm reading this is like when Vegapunk actually passes away, a broadcast is going to start for the entire world that explains to them, maybe not the whole truth, but a lot of the truth that is gonna basically turn everything upside down. And I wonder if Kizaru was in on this. I mean, he still doesn't look like he's having the best time ever, because also, why did he do that? You know, like, okay, maybe this is just my headcanon. Maybe I'm just imagining things. Maybe this is my agenda piece. Maybe Kizaru is just trying to complete the job, you know? Because he was there specifically to take out Vegapunk, but I just feel like there's enough of a reason for him to not have done what he just did. He could have tried to engage Sanji and Luffy a little bit more, you know, like he could have done anything other than this. This feels deliberate and calculated. I don't know. So I'm not, for some reason, I'm not mad at Kizaru in this chapter. I'm really not. Well, I mean, I am. He's still a punk and he still needs to do better. Even if this is part of the plan, if part of the plan is murdering one of your friends so that a broadcast can start, I'm still angry at you. Like, honestly, if we're ever on a mission and part of the plan is for you to kill me, honestly, I don't want that mission to be completed. I'm sorry. I know Vegapunk's old, you know, he got to live the life that he wanted. If it were me, I'd be sitting up there bleeding out like, y'all get me off this island. I don't care, find another way. I do not want to die like this. But that's the suspense of how the chapter ends. An entire broadcast is about to be put out to the world, and it seemingly is going to set up, again, maybe not everything, but whatever Vegapunk is saying in this broadcast, I can promise the world government does not want everybody else to know. God, the world government is so sorry. They didn't know that something like this might happen. They didn't imagine that maybe Vegapunk would have something like this. What are they gonna do? I could just imagine the world government is so comically stupid. I bet the next thing they're gonna do, they're gonna be scrambling at their headquarters like, fuck it, I don't know, just destroy all the snails. Get rid of all the snails. If there's no TVs anywhere, then no one can watch the broadcast. Gonna start destroying radios and shit. They're so stupid. But the other way the chapter ends is really great. Like, dude, this whole chapter, I was on the verge of like not tearing up, but whatever tearing up is, whatever that is for excitement. Like, this is what reading One Piece is. But from there, the chapter actually ends on a really serious and awesome note. While Sanji is getting Vegapunk out of there, Luffy, Gear 5 Luffy, jumps up and he grabs both Kizaru and the Spider Bastard, and he's like, and you two, you know there's no way I'm letting you escape, right? Which is just so awesome. He's smiling and everything. It's gotta be pretty terrifying from their perspective. I mean, this guy is a lunatic. He is unhinged and he absolutely will murder you. So hearing him say that, it's just so, I believe him. Like, he just, like, not even a couple days ago, punched Kaido into a volcano. He has not thought about that since, by the way. He has no problems with murder. And to just hear him say this to these two people, I believe him, okay? He promised Vegapunk he'd get him off this island, and now it looks like he might not be able to keep that promise, and Vegapunk was his friend, you know, so he might be getting ready to punch Adam Sandler and the Spider Bastard right into their very own volcanoes. And it's also just so awesome because it shows us that even in Gear 5, like, Luffy can still be serious. Like, a lot of people on Twitter especially talk about how Gear 5 is a downgrade, which I just feel like they're just farming engagement, to be honest, because it's like, to be honest, hey, this is a little aside that I have to say. If you think you can cook better than Oda, I don't even have a joke. Just stop it. Just stop. Like, it's laughable for you to try that, to be honest. I don't know why you would. And it's like, you know, I get, if I were to be as charitable as I can be, okay, I understand what people are saying when they say this, okay? You know, they miss the Luffy that fought Rob Lucci, okay? That serious Luffy that dug deep and pulled something out of him that he wasn't even sure that he could pull out, you know? Like, I get that. But what Gear 5 represents is so special and so awesome and just so different. I just, like, the discourse is just so tiring. Like, this Luffy that is still smiling, still goofy, like, absolutely, if you look at some of the other panels, even him as a giant, it looks kind of goofy. But he's still serious, and he's outright telling you, like, yeah, you shouldn't have done that. But like I said, being as charitable as possible, I understand what people are saying, you know, when they're talking about how Gear 5 is a downgrade. You know, I get the sentiment. The thing is, you know, there's plenty of chances for that to still happen. Like, to be honest, Luffy has not been in a serious fight since he got Gear 5. And if you're just like, well, okay, he fought Kaido, you know, he fought Kaido and Onigashima. If you think that was a serious fight, you're not understanding your own argument. Kaido was drunk the whole time. In fact, the whole reason that they were fighting, the whole fight itself is hilarious. Like, Kaido was just supposed to be at a party, and then 4 minutes later, he's getting jumped on his roof for 11 hours. The whole time he's drunk, by the way. And then when he's finally sober, your opponent is Bugs Bunny. Listen, and then he gets punched into a volcano. It's all comedy, guys. It's always been a comedy. But there is still room for these serious moments. And, like, yeah, Luffy's not taking this situation, like, as seriously as he did versus Rob Lucci. But listen, think about the in-game matchups that we have. Blackbeard's power can take away Devil Fruit powers, okay? So that means this Gear 5 nonsense may not be a factor at all anyway. In fact, you know, Blackbeard, out of all the people, has the chance to give us, like, that serious fight that we want from Luffy. Because from the jump, as soon as Luffy met Blackbeard, he wasn't smiling, he wasn't laughing, he was like, something about this guy, I don't like him. Like, as soon as Luffy's soul interacted with Blackbeard's soul, like, they completely disagreed immediately. And yeah, it's comical how they disagreed over a cherry pie, but I love the scene where Blackbeard gives that monologue about dreams after Luffy walks out of the bar, after he was beaten up for believing in the Sky Island. And Luffy and Zoro, they don't humor him. It's like they're seeing exactly what he is without understanding it, and they're like, yeah, I don't like you. I don't care how much we agree. It's like this unspoken acknowledgement that I have to defeat you. Like, your philosophy runs counter to mine, and both of our philosophies cannot coexist. Like, I love things in writing like that, like examples of enemies meeting each other, and just right off the bat, there's this understanding, like, there can only be one of us, and we're gonna have to sort this out eventually. And I really think out of all the examples that I can pull from fiction, that scene from One Piece might be the best. Like, it truly might be the best, especially because at that point in time, you don't really know what you're looking at. And now when you look back at his interaction with Blackbeard, you understand, like, okay, wow, that was really good. Like, everything about that suggests that it's going to be serious, which isn't even to mention his connection with Ace, which is actually another thing, another opponent that Luffy has to fight, Akainu. Like, what do you guys think that when Luffy fights Akainu, will he even be able to use Gear 5? Because, you know, I don't know. It's not to say that he can't. I'm not saying that that's my agenda piece. He certainly could still approach that fight with the boundless optimism and of an unhinged crackhead, but, you know, it's the person that took his brother from him. Is he gonna be jumping around and laughing? I don't know. It's to be seen. But I would be interested to see what you guys have to say about that, you know? Do you guys think that when Luffy fights Akainu, will he be able to tap into Gear 5? Or do you think that's gonna be basically just pure hockey because he's not gonna be able to laugh at anything because all he's gonna remember is his brother? I don't know if I think that, because there's been a lot of attention in the writing that suggests that Luffy is, at least for the most part, over Ace's death. Like, I use the phrase over Ace's death loosely, you know, because grief's the funny thing. I'm sure there's still some things that even Luffy still has to unpack. But I think for the most part, he's not going to be as torn up about it as he was when it first happened. Due in large part to his crew and, most importantly, Jinbei, who immediately snapped him back in order. Like, he was like, listen, I get it, but you can't keep doing what you're doing. You got to get back out there. But it's interesting. And also, for that matter, Garp, like, that's another person. So those are three people that I would say, like, two of them are definitely going to be fights. I don't think that Luffy needs to or will ever fight Garp in the future, but I'm interested to see what are those feelings like? Like, how does Luffy view Garp? Like, I don't think he would hold a grudge against Garp. I don't think he is angry at his grandfather at all, but also at the same time, like, what are his feelings? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure we'll never get the answer to that question because that's not the type of person that Luffy is, but I think it would be well within reason for Luffy to at least have his perception of his grandfather change a little bit. He doesn't necessarily adopt an overly negative perception of his grandfather, but still, like, it would be interesting to see him take into account the things that happened into Marineford and how Garp really didn't stop it, and how Luffy might have felt like it was just him trying to stop his brother from dying, and how that wasn't enough. You know, I don't know, it's interesting. I'm really interested to see how he interacts with Garp, Akainu, and Blackbeard in the future. But that's just a little aside. And it looks like that's the end of chapter 1108, and there is no break next week, so hallelujah, we are so back, baby. I really like this chapter. I like this chapter a whole lot. Love, 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 love. And I can't wait to read it next week. So let me guys know what you think in the comments. Let me know who you think the MVP of this chapter was, and let me know how you think Luffy's gonna interact with Akainu, Blackbeard, and Garp whenever he actually interacts with them, because I'm really curious about that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being interested, and I cannot wait to see you next week.